Hello there, good evening, and welcome back to the Football Tribe YouTube channel. My name is Robert K. Sarkos, and thank you for tuning into the channel from wherever it is that you're managing to catch this. For those that have subscribed to the channel, we are dearly grateful for your contribution, and for those that have not yet, do endeavor to please subscribe to the channel and turn your notifications on so that you can be notified when we do release a video. So today we will be speaking about the VAR controversy that has surrounded football in recent times and more particularly in this season. Why the controversy? Is VAR the problem? Now, my submission is that VAR is not the problem. Never has been. Because what is VAR in essence? In essence, it's a video assistant referee. Now, this is a technology, based system that helps referees or match officials make better decisions in the game of football. Has it come at a cost? Yes. Has it worked? Yes and no. It depends. Has it been good for the game ever since it was introduced? That is quite subjective. It depends on which way you view it. Now, personally, I do not think VAR is the problem. I do think it is the problem is with those that are trying to use it, because what VAR essentially does is provide video evidence. It provides evidence of different incidents in the game to help match officials make decisions. But even with some of that evidence, many have gone on to make the wrong decisions or to ignore that evidence and make decisions that have affected the game. Now, more recently, former Liverpool defender and legend, that's Jamie Carragher, did come out to say that VAR should be scrapped. I do not think it should, but anyway, that's his view. Now, he came to that conclusion in the wake of Manchester United's 4-3 loss to Copenhagen in the UEFA Champions League. In that particular game, there were three VAR-backed decisions that included two penalties and a first half red card that was issued to Marcus Rashford. Rightly so. I did think to myself that it was a red card. It was a bad tackle for Marcus Rashford to make it in the game. I thought it was okay, even when his own manager, that is Erik ten Hag, did agree with the decision. But anyway, Jamie Carragher said it should be scrapped. Why? Because he thinks it's affecting the game. It's being a result. He's blaming it for the bad decisions that are being made. But again, I'll maintain it is the people behind the system that are influencing or leading to the making of these bad decisions. In any case, we have had quite a number of examples. Just last weekend, we had Bukayo Saka being penalized for having pushed a defender, and that led to, a free kick for Burnley. But a week earlier than that, you had Gabriel Magalhaes being pushed by Joelinton in his own area, and then a referee saying that wasn't a foul. Again, in one of the cases that is against Arsenal, Newcastle, you had officials review this incident, and they concluded that it wasn't a foul. In the match against Burnley and Arsenal, it was a blatant, sort of sieve for the match official to decide, oh, that's a foul. They didn't even have to review it under VAR. Now, then we go back to, I think, game week 1, where Manchester United beat up against Wolverhampton Wanderers by a goal to nil. You had goalkeeper Andre Onana clatter into Sasa Kaladzic in that victory, and I think he was in proximity with Craig Dawson during that set piece. So, and it wasn't given a penalty, and everybody came to, including VAR themselves or Pitchmore, to apologize in the aftermath of the game to say that was a foul that went unpunished again. So, who is to blame? Is it the evidence that was there that was not reviewed to take the correct decision, or the match officials? So it's not the system, it's the people using the system to review these things and still come to wrong conclusions. Then the other thing, I think it is making officials lazy. Not entirely, but in some cases where referees are refusing to make decisions and premising their reputation on the fact that VAR is going to review these incidents and help them make a decision. Whereas as compared to them being mocking and making decisions right there and then. So that in any case of a review, then they have the chance to go to the monitor and correct themselves if it warrants the case. But so that's my view there. And then the other thing, often too many times, I think those behind the system, that's the VAR referees, spend so much time telling match officials on what to do, which I do not think personally should be the case. Perhaps the system is designed to work that way. I could be wrong, but then this is my opinion. I think for the center referee, who is often in the largest part in charge of the game, and then in assistance with his liners and all that, or the assistant referees, plus the fourth official on the other side of the pitch, should have more control of the game. First of all, I say this because it is largely pivoted to the center referee, who is in the game, observing the game, officiating over the game, or presiding over the game. He's seen all the emotions involved in the game, the intensity, the kind of environment or that within which he is working. Whereas he has to follow the rules of football to the latter, oftentimes the rules give him the chance to apply his own common sense. For example, oftentimes we've seen players make tackles that by the letter of the law would culminate into a caution, which is a yellow card, but then based on the referee's judgment, he says he doesn't give it. So he just talks to the player and warns the player, and maybe next one, if you do this again, I'll give you a yellow card. Or sometimes they are warned once, twice, and then maybe on the third time, that's when he's issuing a yellow card. So where does that come to? It comes to common sense. Referee understanding of the game, being in the game, observing moments as they unfold, the pace of the game, and all the environment. We all know the emotions that are involved oftentimes in big derbies. You've watched Arsenal play Tottenham. We've seen Manchester United versus Liverpool. We've seen Liverpool versus Everton. In Spain, we've seen the El Clasico, that's Barcelona, Real Madrid. We've seen the Madrid derby of Atletico Madrid versus Real Madrid. We've seen the Catalan derby of Espanyol versus Real Madrid. We go to Italy, where we have the Milan derby, that is between Inter Milan and AC Milan. You have the Roma derby, that's between Lazio and Roma, and then all those other derbies that happen in South America, in the Copa de Libertadores and more. So oftentimes these are games that come with extra emotion, extra sensitivity, that as much as fouls are made, not every foul should be a yellow card. And even pundits are always, saying this, meaning they're leaving a lot of judgment to the referee for their understanding of the game, their understanding of the rules, but more importantly, being in the environment of the game. So, how do I see it? That oftentimes VAR referees are not in the environment of the game. They are not on the turf. As much as they are watching the game, the parts of the game that they are not controlling or observing well enough, as much as the center referee. So, when it comes to decisions that they are reviewing, oftentimes they are telling referees, match referees, what to look out for, or in terms of reviewing these things. They tell the official, this so and so has done this, this is what happened. Like I said, perhaps that's how it should work. But I do think that sort of pre-decides what they should be, what a center referee should be doing, as opposed to saying, okay, I think we have an incident in this period of time. Maybe, for example, for Cristiano Romero's red card against Enzo Fernandez, we think there's a potential foul on Enzo Fernandez by Cristiano Romero, and perhaps you missed that or you didn't see enough of that. you may need to go to the monitor and sort of review it. So when the referee then walks to the monitor and is being replayed this incident from different angles, then he makes judgment and say, guys, I think maybe I made the right call, or I think, yeah, you're right, I missed this, or, and in case there, it's not looking as obvious to them, to him, that's the match center referee of the day, then he can ask the VAR team, guys, what am I specifically looking at? What more do you want me to review or to take a look at? Why do you think I need my second eye on? And then they guide him from there, as opposed to right away telling him, this has happened, I think you need to do this, or, in that kind of mode. But anyway, perhaps that's just a process. Continuously, VAR or referees, they are reviewing their decisions. But particularly this season, we've had way too many apologies from the Pigeon trying to defend their referees. To make matters worse, you remember the incident between, I think, Tottenham versus Liverpool. We had Luis Diaz's goal disallowed, and yet it was the right goal. How do you review that multiple times? And it's not just one person, but a panel of 3 to 4 persons in the VAR control room, and all come to the wrong decision. And then 10 minutes after the game, you're telling us you got it wrong. So something needs to be done. But again, it's not the system, but it's the people behind the system. Anyway, that all that with all that said, I've always thought that England referees are the worst when it comes to officiating in the modern game at a professional level where the stakes are that high. They've always underscored for me. First of all, they are way too inconsistent in their decisions. Oftentimes, I've asked myself whether at the end of every weekend, they do sit down to review the major decisions that were taken during the weekend to say, guys, here we got it wrong. Perhaps this should have been the correct thing, so that the next time when they find themselves in a similar situation, they correct that mistake going forward. But you have decisions where one is given as a foul this weekend, and the following weekend it's not a foul, and then the other weekend it's a foul. So you're oftentimes questioning what, like, do they really audit themselves? Perfect example that I can draw you back on was during the Arsenal versus Manchester City game. You had what was a potential red card for Mateo Kovacic that was not given by Mike Oliver. Now, Mike Oliver was the same referee that gave Gabriel Martinelli a red card in the game, in Arsenal's game against Wolves, I think last season, for 2 subsequent fouls in a game. How did this happen? So he commits a foul, and then Wolves remain in possession. So he says, play on. So as in the same incident of the play on, he commits another foul, and he says he issues him 2 red cards for the first incident and the second incident, culminating into a red card. But then you have the same referee failing to give a red card for 2 dangerous tackles, one of which could have been a red card by its own, but he's not giving a red card. And it makes you wonder, are they, screwed? Are they really reviewing their decisions to say, we need to learn from this and do better? But that's English referees for you. Maybe the other sticking point about this whole officials thing, the match referees and all, I think they are way too protected by the FA. The FA have left it at their discretion, and perhaps that of Pitchmore, one, to penalize referees, which is correct, but to even comment about referees' decisions. Just this week, we had manager Mikel Arteta being sanctioned by the FA for a breach of a rule for his comments in the post-match, conference after Arsenal lost by a goal to nil against Newcastle. Yes, he questioned the officials, refereeing all the decisions that were made on the day. Now, if a manager of a club that is participating in the game is not allowed to comment about the officials that are officially presiding over that game, then who better has the moral authority to say so? Because practically what the FA and the Premier League are saying, when it comes to commenting about the referees, leave that to the pundits and us. So managers whose teams are being affected by these bad decisions are not allowed to comment on these decisions. It doesn't really make sense. But anyway, it is what it is. But in the good and the bad, I do not think VAR should be scrapped. I do think those governing, those behind the system, should work more on improving themselves. That's what I think. The question is, what do you think? Anyway, share your views with us in the comment section if you managed to catch this video. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stay blessed.